Lady again. Recording in progress. Good morning, everybody. We need a wall. You need access to a wall today. We're going to use it both standing and lying down. So just make sure you have the wall as much as, the width of your body, basically. That's about it. A block, a couple hand weights, and a Pilates ball. So let's start in a standing position. We're going to use the wall right away. I want your feet 6 to 10 inches away from the wall, wherever you need to be, so that you can feel your tailbone and your shoulder blades, and then hopefully the back of your head, your hair is not in the way. And we're just gonna lean against the wall. I want you to bring your arms against the wall too, if you can. So ideally, we're in a very nice tall position, waist up. You might have to walk even further away from the wall, wherever you need to be to find that nice tall position. And we're gonna close our eyes. And we're gonna breathe nice and slow in through the nose and out through the mouth. So by using the wall, it's like using the ground for feedback. We get to feel our bony landmarks against the wall. So I want you to think of back of the head touching without tilting up too much. So I want your chin still connected to your chest, not touching, but connected, meaning imagine there's a grapefruit under your chin. Back of the neck is long, so we're not extending the cervical spine. We're just keeping it nice and long, thinking crown of the head up to the sky. So we're working in reverse today with our posture scan. So we've got our head, crown of the head up to the sky, back of the head against the wall. And then as we move down the body, I want you to think of getting your shoulder blades against the wall without arching the lower back. Shoulder blades against the wall, and let's think of our arms against the wall, back of the shoulder all the way down to back of the hand if possible. And we're breathing nice and slow as we're visualizing where our body is against the wall today. From back of the shoulders, arms all the way down. I want you to think of bringing your sacrum, your tailbone against the wall, almost your lower back, but I actually like a little space. I want us in a neutral position so we're not flattening the back against the wall, but we're being conscious of our ribs connected to the hips. There should be a slight bend in your knees, and you should be firmly planted with your feet on the ground. The further away they go, may be more comfortable for you to get your body against the wall, but they're still firmly planted regardless of how close or far from the wall you are, big toe, little toe, heel. Let's hold this position. You can open your eyes and let's continue that slow breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now I'm going to give you two options here. One, osteoporosis. You are not going to be flexing the spine. You're not going to do the roll down portion that we're about to do. In that case, I want you to grab a stick. I want you to grab a stick that can go behind your head, shoulders, and bum. So if you have osteoporosis, that is your option. For everybody else, we're going to go for a roll down, and we're going to think of peeling away from the wall. So for osteoporosis, you would stick the stick behind you, and you're just going to be bending, pressing your hips into the wall and standing tall. So you're practicing that nice hinge at the hip. For everybody else, we're going to take a big breath in through the nose. As we exhale, we're going to think of nodding the chin to the chest. So we're going for a roll down, but we're thinking of pressing into the wall and then peeling away. So then I'm going to peel my shoulders. And then I'm going to peel my mid back. And then I'm going to press my lower back. And then thinking of slowly bend those knees, rounding the spine all the way down. I still want your hips in contact with the wall. So right now it's about glutes, sit bones. So ideally we hang here for a second, big breath in. As you exhale, we're going to think of rebuilding the spine from the bottom. So I'm going to think of pressing my lower back, nice and slow, into my mid back, my upper back, and then finally my head. So very different than still in space away from the wall. Again, peeling away. So you really want to think of nodding chin down. We've got shoulders anchored, but now I'm going to think of peeling the top of my spine, mid back, and then lower back. Ideally, we articulate as much as possible, all the way down. Big breath in at the bottom, and then exhale, we come back up. So your hips are sliding up and down the wall, pressing all the way back. So that was 2. We're going to do one last one, and then we're going to come away from the wall. Big breath in. Exhale, chin to chest, rounding the spine. All the way forward, really thinking of peeling one individual vertebra at a time away from the wall. Hanging at the bottom. And then exhale, come up. I like this variation. It brings a little bit more attention and awareness to our spine. Let's step away from the wall. And we're going to go for 2 roll downs in the middle. So we're going to inhale, reach those arms up to the sky. And now I want you to think again of that peeling away from the imaginary wall behind you. And see if this feels different than it usually does because of using the wall right before. Big breath in. Exhale, let's rebuild the spine from the bottom all the way to stack tall. We've got 1 more of these. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, we round the body forward, 1 individual vertebra at a time. Again, osteoporosis, you're forward bending with that stick. Big breath in. Exhale, let's rebuild. From here, let's inhale, reach our arms up to the sky. We're going to interlace our fingers. You've got your arms around your head, and we're going to bend over to the side. We're going to hold here for a second, and we're going to close our eyes, and I want you to think about where your body is right now. First, think of those hands, where they're reaching to. Think of if your head is centered between your arms. And then think of the low back. Just check in to see if it's arching. Let's come to the center. Other side. Bending over to the side. Close those eyes and just check in with your body. See if you can feel where your alignment is. Do you feel straight? Do you feel bent over in a straight line? Come back up to the center. We're going to come to the wall. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to stand with our feet again, 6 to 10 inches away from the wall. It's really dependent on where you're comfortable. And I want tailbone anchored, shoulders anchored, head anchored. We're going to inhale, reach those arms up to the sky, interlace those fingers, hands up to the sky, biceps around your ears. Now from here, right away, I notice that I arch my lower back. So I just want to check in to make sure that I've got a nice solid position, no arch in the lower back. It doesn't have to be flat. And then I'm going to bend over to the side, keeping my back glued against the wall. We're going to take a break here. You can close your eyes and reflect on where your body is again. Make sure both sides of your low back, more hips, sacrum, are glued to the wall. So you don't want to be peeling away. Try to keep those arms around your head. If not, you're bending your arms, you're adjusting to where you need to be. Let's come back to the center. Other side. So we bend over to the side, making sure there's no arch in the lower back. Arms are as straight as they can be. So you may have to come away from the wall a little bit. That's okay. This is just something we're trying to notice to see where we're at. We're using the wall as a tool to check in with our alignment. Back to the center. Take your hands apart, and we're still going to do a side bend, but see if that helps. See if bending to the side is a little bit easier with the arms separated for you. Back to the center. Last one. And all the way into the middle. Arms come down, give those shoulders a roll. Come away from the wall, feet about hip distance apart. We're going to rise up onto our toes. In this position, make sure your heels are in line with your toes, knees, and hips, and they're not flared out to the side. And let's lower down. Rise up onto the toes, lower down. Resisting the lower down, up. Slow down, barely touch, come up. This is 4. Barely touch down, last one, up and down. Now we're gonna bend our knees and we're gonna think of sliding down that imaginary wall, which we do all the time, and then we stand up. Let's do a few more of these. Bend and tall. Shoulders are down. Bend the knees and stand all the way tall. 2 more, bend and tall, last one. And I think you know where we're going with this. We're gonna go use the wall for that same movement. So again, you have to be far away from the wall. The closer you are, the more challenging it is. I want head touching, shoulder blades, and sacrum. Try not to arch the lower back. If your shoulders are away a little bit, that's fine, okay? We're gonna bend down against the wall and stand all the way up. 4 more. So we're bending. The closer your heels are to the wall, the more challenging it is. And up, 3 more. So we bend and up. Last 2, keeping that tailbone touching. I say to myself, and up. Last one, bend and up. Let's come away from the wall and we're gonna combine those 2 movements. I want you to think of that wall behind you. We rise up onto our toes, we bend our knees, imagining we're still against the wall, lower the heels and stand tall. Up, bending the knees, heels come down nice and slow, stand tall. 3 to go. Up, bending the knees, heels come down, all the way tall. 2 more. Up, bend, heels down, tall. Last one. Up, bend, heels down, tall. We reverse. So now we're really imagining we're still sliding down that wall, lifting the heels, growing tall. Heels down. Bend at the knees, lifting the heels, up tall, lower the heels slowly. 3 to go. Bend, lifting the heels, tall, 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 lower the heels, bend at the knees, lifting the heels, grow tall, lower the heels. Last one, bend the knees, lift the heels, all the way tall, lower the heels nice and slow. Let's take our time. We're gonna come onto our backs with our feet against the wall. Grab your Pilates ball and make sure your weights are nearby. So I want you to have knees above hips, feet straight out from the knees. And you're gonna grab your Pilates ball. It's gonna go between your thighs, not your knees, your thighs. In this position, you can close your eyes if it helps you think about your body and to visualize where you are at. So we've got our feet against the wall and you can check your feet, make sure they're nice and straight. Heels are in the same line, toes directly above, ball between the thighs. We're not doing anything with it quite yet. Got your sacrum anchored on the mat, neutral position in the spine, shoulders are relaxed. Remember that feeling we had earlier against the wall with our shoulders? Hopefully it's a little bit easier on the mat. Back at the head and back of the arms, palms facing up to begin. From here, big breath in through the nose. As we exhale, I want you to think of squeezing that ball with your inner thighs and then release. 4 more. Keep those feet firmly planted, big toe, little toe, heel, squeezing the ball and release. Make sure you're exhaling as we squeeze. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, release. 2 more. And exhale to squeeze. Let's add a pelvic tilt to this. So I want you to think of exhaling and pushing all of the air out of your body as you flatten your back. Ignore the ball, keep it there though. So as I exhale, I flatten my back. I inhale to relax. Exhale. Keeping the feet against the wall, pressing. Let's go a little further and start a bridge, very tiny. So as I exhale, I'm going to flatten my back. I'm going to start to peel my lower back, just lower. That's it. Pause, inhale, and exhale, come back down one vertebra at a time. Make sure you finish in neutral. Inhale. Exhale, we flatten the back, peel the bottom of the spine, just a few vertebrae. Pause. Back down. So we're moving only on the exhale. Little check in with your feet. Make sure big toe, little toe, heel are pressing against the wall. Last one. Let's remove the ball and let's move away from the wall a couple inches. So now my knees are no longer directly above my hips. I'm going to keep my arms relaxed at my sides. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to float one leg up into tabletop. Stay here. And I'm going to bring the other leg up into tabletop. So now we've got some space between our feet and the wall. We're going to set one foot down. Toes are touching. So it's just an inch or two. And then we switch simultaneously. So it's baby movement. So they're just going back and forth. Trying to find that position where I've got my abdominals working. I'm in a neutral spine. I've got my hands on my waist, just checking in with my body to make sure there is only movement at the hip joint, not in my pelvis. So it's just back and forth, baby movements. And let's stop in the center. Glue your knees and legs together. We're going to go both legs at the same time. So hopefully you're not too far from the wall. We're going to come down, both feet touch, back up. It's a baby movement. Don't come any closer than hips for your knees. Back and forth. Make sure nothing else in the body is moving. We've got those shoulders anchored, back of the head anchored, sacrum anchored. And then let's set the feet back on the wall. About hip distance apart. Knees are further away from the hips. Now we're going to grab our weighted balls. Or weights, whatever you have. We're going to reach them up to the sky, pull those shoulder blades away from the mat, and then we let the shoulder blades come down. Keep the arms straight. So a little bit of weight is forcing those shoulder blades down. Reach up to the sky and down. Being very conscious in this position. As I lower my shoulder blades down to the mat, I'm keeping my shoulders away from my ears. Up and down. Up and down. Keeping the shoulder blades anchored down, I'm going to lower both hands towards my hips. I'm going to reach one arm up. I'm not going to go all the way overhead. I'm just going to reach to the point where I feel my shoulder blades still anchored on my mat. If I go too far, I feel it pull away, come back down. I've got my sacrum anchored. I've got a neutral position in my spine. I'm going to inhale the other arm overhead, and your range may be different. I want you to really feel your shoulder blade and back down. You may have a tiny range. That's okay. If you don't like the feeling of the weight in your hand as you do this, omit it and set it down. We're alternating shoulders. I've got my shoulder blades anchored. That's the big part of this. I'm feeling shoulder blade into the mat. The weight of the ball is giving me more feedback with that shoulder blade into the mat. Just up and down, alternating sides. My feet are securely planted against the wall. Up and down. Last one. Let's float both arms back up, right above the shoulders. Keep those shoulder blades anchored down. Same thing of keeping the shoulder blades anchored on the mat, but we're going to open the arm out to the side. Try not to let any tilting happen through the body. Back to the center. Shoulder blades anchored, alternate sides, open and center. As soon as you start to feel your shoulder blade pulling away from the mat, you've gone too far. Everybody's range is very different. Make sure you don't have any objects nearby. We're just alternating side to side. By keeping the shoulder blade anchored, we're trying to have the movement come from the shoulder joint itself versus letting the shoulder blade come along for the ride. Open and close. Let's go both of them at the same time and just see if you can feel both shoulder blades still anchored. If you're unable to feel it, it's better to go one at a time, but we're going to do another 5. Super slow open. It's also a chest exercise. 4, make sure the elbows aren't locked. They can be slightly bent. 3, 2, last one. And bend those elbows, set those weights aside. From here, let's bring our hands behind our head. We're gonna go for chest lift. If you have osteoporosis, you're just gonna be tapping the legs one at a time. The rest of us are gonna keep our feet firmly planted against the wall. Sacrum is anchored. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, you're gonna peel head, chest away from the mat, flattening the back. Inhale, reach your hands behind the thighs, press those feet into the wall, curl your body up higher. Stay lifted as you inhale and bring the hands back behind your head and exhale all the way down. Breathe in at the bottom. Exhale, we peel away from the mat, curling up. Inhale, reach the arms towards the back of the thighs. Exhale, pull your body higher, but keep pushing into the wall with those feet. Inhale, hands come back behind the head, and exhale all the way down. We have 3 to go. Exhale, curl. Inhale, reach. Exhale, higher. Push those feet. Inhale, hands behind the head, and exhale all the way down. Last 2. Inhale, reach. Exhale, higher. Inhale, hands behind the head, and exhale back down. Last one. Exhale to lift. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull higher. Inhale, stay lifted. Hands go back behind the head, and exhale all the way down. Arms can relax at your sides. Widen your feet, and you can let your knees fall to one side and the other. We're going to move back towards the wall so that our knees are directly above our hips again. We're going to grab that Pilates ball. It's going to go back between the inner thighs. We're not going to squeeze it. We're going to use it for alignment purposes. And if I was really mean, I would make everybody grab their yoga block and stick it between their feet like so against the wall. That is an option. I'm not going to make you do it, but you can see where it actually promotes very nice alignment with your feet, big toes, and heels holding that yoga block and the ball between the thighs. This is actually 2 props that I use when I do exercises on the Pilates Reformer. And it's very challenging for a lot of people to keep that block in place and the ball. So I'm going to use it for my bridge. Option for you guys if you want to think about your alignment a little bit more and if you've got a yoga block handy. So I've got back of the head glued against the mat. My arms are glued, but now I've got palms down because we're going to bridge. I'm not squeezing the ball. I'm not squeezing the block. I'm holding. I'm going to inhale through my nose. As I exhale, I push my feet into the wall, and I'm going to breathe out and peel my spine away from the mat. As I exhale, 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 I only go as high as I am comfortable. If you feel anything low back, you are too high. Pause at the top. And exhale, you come back down. Nice and slow, really pushing into the wall. And I want you to think on the next one of pushing into the wall and dragging your heels down without moving your feet. So it's the intention of pushing and dragging the heels down. Breathe in. We exhale, push the heels in and down as I peel my spine away from the mat. Nice and slow, really pushing those heels in and down. You should feel lots of posterior chain. Pause at the top. Exhale to come down, thinking of the top of the spine, mid, all the way to your lower back. Pause at the bottom. We've got 3 to go. You can go in your own time. The intention is into the wall, push down, exhaling to move. Relaxing the neck, relaxing the head. Make sure the back of your head is anchored. Your shoulders are anchored. Trying to push evenly with both feet, both heels, keeping those hips square. We have 2 more. Pausing at the top. Last one. And let's get rid of the block and the ball. You just straighten the legs, keep them a little bit bent, and let the knees fall side to side. Let's go back to feet about hip distance apart. Imagine the block is there. Imagine the ball is between your thighs. We're going to bridge up. Breathe in. Exhale. We're going to pause at the top of the bridge. Still pushing into the wall with the heels and down. Pausing here. Try to keep the hips square. If you're up for it, we're going to lift one leg away from the wall. Bring that knee above hip. Hold it here for a second. Make sure those hips are square. Push into the opposite foot. Slowly set that foot down. Try not to see any shift through the hips. Make sure both feet are firmly planted. We're going to switch to the other side. Ideally, there is no movement through the pelvis. We've just got that leg lifting up into tabletop. The other hamstring's working very hard. Set that foot down. Pause here, breathe in, and exhale all the way down. We're going to do that 5 more times. And as we can see, I did not set my feet down where I started. So I want you to reflect on that first repetition. If you found it very, very hard, don't lift as high. If you found it a little too easy, I want you to focus on your pelvis, making sure there's no shifting through the hips as you lift your leg away. Big breath in. Exhale, we're flattening the back. We're peeling from the mat. Nice and slow, pushing into the wall with both feet, heels push in and down. From here, we're floating one knee into tabletop. If you want more of a challenge, you're going to extend that leg up. You're going to tap your toes down. back up for 5, or you're just holding that leg in tabletop. 4, 3, no shifting in the hips. 2, last one. Bend that knee, set the foot down. We've got the other leg to do. Really push that foot into the wall, heel drags down, leg comes into tabletop. You either hold or extend, and we tap for 5. No movement in the hips. 4, you don't have to be so high. 3, back of the head is anchored. 2, 1, bend the knee, set that foot down, and come down out of the bridge. And again, we see my feet moved. All right, let's go for 3 more. We're gonna change it up every time. So now we're gonna peel away. We're gonna lift one leg into tabletop. Extend that leg if you want. Now we're gonna open it out to the side a little bit and center for 5. 4, no movement through the hips. 3, 2, opposite legs working hard. Last one, in, bend, and then the other leg. Tabletop, extend. 5 to open, try not to shift. 4. You should only be feeling this through the opposite leg, glute and hamstring. No low back, no crunching in the neck. Bend at the knee, both feet are on the wall, and we come back down. We have 2 more repetitions, just feet again. And let's float up nice and slow, peeling the spine. From here, we're gonna go for a marching this time. We're gonna lift one leg up into tabletop, set it down for 5, 4, alternating sides. 3, really push into the foot into the wall. 1 more each side. Try not to shift through the hips. Last one. Both feet in and come all the way down. We're gonna go back to the first variation for this last rep. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, we're peeling away. Float one leg into tabletop, hold. Forcing the other heel into the wall, pushing it down, feeling all that work in the whole backside. Set that foot down. Other side. Hold. Set that foot down. Slowly, gently, one vertebra at a time. Arms out to the sides, widen up the feet, let the knees fall to one side. And then the other. Hopefully you felt mostly hamstring, glute through that exercise. It is a lovely spine articulation as well. We're gonna come away from the wall for a bit. We're gonna come into a side lying position. So take your time. We've been on our backs for a little bit. Side lying. On our forearm. We're gonna start with our legs bent, knees stacked one on top of the other. If you joined us yesterday in class, you probably feel your obliques a little bit today. Totally fine. We're gonna take that top hand, we're gonna place it on the lower ribs, and we're gonna enjoy the stretch for a moment. I want you to push your ribs down to the ground without compromising the shoulder girdle. So the whole arm on the ground, you wanna make sure you're not slumped, is that a word, slumped, into your shoulder. I want you to stay strong through that whole shoulder girdle, but let the ribs come down and feel that stretch under your whole side body. Take a couple deep breaths here. Just feel that nice stretch. And then let's lift those ribs up to the sky and lower them for 5, 4, keep the hips stacked. 3, 2, 1. If that's enough for you, continue with that variation, or we're lifting the hips up for 5. Keep those hips square. 4, 3, head is back in line with the spine. 2, 1, extend that top leg, come down for 10. You can reach the arm up if you want. 9, head back. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come down. Let's split the legs. We're going to sit nice and tall, reach that arm up to the sky, and we're going to stretch away from that whole side body. Trying to send our breath into that side. And let's switch sides. Move all the props. Part 1, make sure we're in that nice solid position. That shoulder girdle is holding you strong, and we're letting those ribs come down. Check your hips. Make sure that top hip, key point, is not turning back. So I like knees stacked is a nice little spot to look at. Another thing you can do is if you were to place a yoga block between your knees, that'll keep them in better alignment. Just an option. Holding those ribs down, and we're feeling that nice stretch in that whole side body. And then let's lift the ribs up and down for 5, 4, head stays back, 3, 2, and 1. Now we lift the hips. Hips go up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to extend that top leg if you can. Arm goes up, hips come down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's split the legs, come sit up. Take that bottom arm, reach it up to the sky, and stretch over to the side. We're going to come into a prone position. So we're going to lay on our stomach. And we're going to start with our hands under our forehead. So one hand over the other. Let's lengthen the leg. So lift your leg, reach it behind you, lift the other one. Hands are stacked. Forehead is on your hands. I want toes tucked. So we've got toes tucked under. I want you to think of reaching your right heel as far back as you can. Reach it as far away from you as you can, and then relax. As you reach the other leg, other heel away from you, you'll notice that your thigh lifts. Maybe not completely off the mat, but it lifts as you reach and relax. Let's go back to the right heel, reach. Relax, left, reach. Relax, right, reach. Relax, left, reach. Relax, let's untuck the toes. Make sure you really reach those legs away. Hopefully you feel like you might have a bit more space in the low back. From here, we're going to lower the shoulders away from the ears, pull the belly away from the mat just slightly. And we're going to think of pulling our head away from our hands, but still facing down. So think of the back of your neck remaining long. And come back down. Pull away from the mat. And down, make sure belly is in, shoulders are down, lift. Down. Couple more, lifting away from the mat. Tummy in, shoulders are down, lift. Let's do 2 more, tummy and shoulders down, lift away from the mat. And back down. Last one, tummy and shoulders down. And back down. Let's move our hands to under our shoulders. From here, I want you to think of bringing your elbows towards your feet. Reach those shoulders down, pull that tummy in. We're now going to imagine that we're pushing a ping pong ball with our nose. So we are going to extend the cervical spine. Once that ping pong ball is too far for you to push, we push into the hands and we lift the chest. Keep those ribs anchored on your mat. And then we come back down. If you feel anything in your low back, don't go so high. Support a little bit better. Tummy and shoulders down. Push that ping pong ball. Push into the hands, lifting the chest, peeling away from the mat. And back down. 3 more. Tummy and shoulders down. Last 2. Tummy and shoulders down. So it's not a big extension, but we are focusing on that thoracic spine, the upper back. Tummy and shoulders down. And last one. Tummy and shoulders down. And let's press ourselves back into a child's pose. Seat on the heels, round the body forward, reaching those arms away. Come into a quadruped position. So shoulders are above your wrists, knees are under the hips. From here, I want you to think of pressing into your hands and turning your elbows forward. So it's like you're screwing your hands into the mat. You should feel more solid. Your shoulders in a better position here. Let's hold this position nice and strong as we go for a nice cat-cow. So we're going to round the head forward, the upper back, mid back, and lower back, pushing into the mat, still thinking of screwing the hands in. And let's reverse the movement by starting extending from the lower back to the mid back, upper back, finally lifting the head at the end. And rounding again from the head. Mid back, lower back, all the way. And back down, extending lower back, mid back, head lifts at the end. And let's reverse where the movement begins. So let's round that lower back first, mid, upper, head. And then our head lifts first for that cervical extension, thoracic extension in that upper back, mid back, and lower back. Last one, flexing, rounding from that lower back, mid, upper, and head. And we finish with the head all the way down. Push back, little child's pose. Let's come into a supine position. We're going to lay on our back. Make sure you have your yoga block or a towel, something for your head nearby. We'll start by reaching those legs up to the sky. Arms are in that T position, a little lower. And we're just going to open the legs wide. Feel that stretch in the inner thighs. Keeping a neutral spine, I want you to think of using your abdominals to pull your legs back to the center. We're going to open the legs wide, neutral spine. Big inhale. As you exhale, use the abdominals back to the center. That's 3. We do 5. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. Last one. We're going to stay open this time. From here, we rock side to side. Nice, gently, slowly. Keep rocking side to side. We're going to do a little bit more of this to start. Shoulders are anchored. And then let's let one leg come to the ground, super slow. Set it down. Keep the other leg lifted, and I want you to think of stretching away with that leg, wherever that is for you. Let's let that top leg come and meet the bottom leg. Gently, slowly guide it. Listen to my own advice and have my yoga block close enough. Grab your block. It can go under your head. Feet are stacked, knees are stacked, hips are stacked. So you should be in a nice, it's a very big rotation right now. Arms are in about a T position. Let's take that back arm. We're going to reach it overhead. The higher to the sky you reach it, the easier. So if you want more of a challenge, reach it towards the mat. Open back up, reach behind you. Feet are glued together, knees are stacked, hips are stacked. That's one. We're gonna do 3 today. Reach up and over. It's like a half circle. If your shoulder does not like this, reach up higher, or maybe just open from your 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So from one point to the other. That's 2. We have one more full repetition. And we open slowly, gently, lovely shoulder mobility mixed with some spine rotation. And forward. We're going to keep the arms in front of us. So let's actually take the top hand, place it on your top hip. Reason being, I want to make sure that we're not letting the hips fall back. We're going to push the top heel away from us, so reaching it past the bottom foot, and then we're going to lift it up. Keep pushing into the heel. Now, if your hips stay stacked, you should not be able to get super high. Slowly guide the foot, the leg back down. Push into the heel, lift. Really push the heel back down. That's 2. We're going for 10. Push, push, push. 3. Guide it down. Don't let it fall. 4. 5. Push, push, push. 6. Push, push, push. 7. 8. 9. 10. Come back down. I want you to point your toes now. Reach past the bottom foot. We're going to circle for 10. So we're going to do as big a circle as we can without moving the hips. 9. 8. Slow. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Of course, we have to reverse. I'm regretting doing 10. Lift for 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Oh, relax that leg for a second. All right, we got to get out of it now. So we're going to take that top leg, or sorry, the top arm. We're going to open it up into our T position. We're going to remove the block, lifting that top really tired leg up to the sky. Hold for a second. Bring up that bottom leg slowly, gently, so we're flat on our back. Legs are wide. Because I mean, bring the legs together. We're going to curl up towards the non-working leg, hands together, non-working leg, back of the hand, outer knee. We lower the working leg for 10. Stay lifted, look towards your hands are lower. 9, no movement through the pelvis. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, you can always keep your head down if this is too much. 3, 2, and 1. Hug both knees into your chest and relax your head down. Before we switch sides, I want to stretch out that glute we just worked a little bit. So let's extend the non-working leg, the leg you were laying on, out. Grab the leg you were working on the outside of the knee, pull it across your body, just slightly feel that stretch. Hold. Breathe into it, relax. And if you are up for it, you can pull it a little bit further for a gentle rotation and turn away from that knee. And let's come back to the center. Let's turn for the other side. Oh, yay, we got to do the whole thing on the other side. Ooh. So we start with the legs up. Arms are in that T. We open. As we exhale, we use the abdominals to close. Open. Open. This is 3. We stay open on 5. 4. And 5. We stay open and we slowly, gently rock side to side for a little longer than usual. And then let's let that leg come all the way down to the ground slowly, gently. Take that top leg, pull it away, a little bit more of a stretch. And then we guide it to land on the bottom leg. Grab your block under the head, take that back arm, reach it up overhead, all the way to the other arm. From here, open back, go all the way. That's 1 repetition. Feet are stacked, knees are stacked, hips are stacked. Up, forward, and open. That's 2. We've got 1 more full rep. Slowly, gently. And I'm stalling to get to the leg portion here. All right. Legs are stacked. Take that top hand, place it on your top hip. No cheating. Push with the top heel. It should reach away past the bottom foot. And we lift up for 10. 9. Really push with that heel. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Circles, point the toe. We've got 10. 9. Keep those hips stacked. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. I think I went quicker. And 1. Switch direction for 10. Nice and slow. 9. 8. 7. 6. Don't let the hips move. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. And down. Saw you guys were all still moving too. Good for you. All right. Let's get rid of the block. Arms go back in that T position. Let's lift that top leg up to the sky, that tired leg up, up, up. Slowly, gently, we're going to roll onto our back. Bring those legs together. We're going to curl up to the leg we were laying on, the non-working leg. If you don't like this for flexion, keep your head down. And then we lower that working leg for 10. Hips stay equal. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Back up, both knees into the chest. Let's keep the working leg, that leg that was on top, into the chest. Extend the other leg long. Grab hold of the outside of the knee with the opposite hand. Pull it across your body until you feel that stretch in the glute hip region, and just hold. Trying to slow the breath, send the breath into that hip if you can. And if you're up for it, you can pull it across a little bit more and turn away from the knee. And let's take our time. We're going to come back to the wall on our backs with our feet against the wall. We're going to do a little breathing before we come to a standing position. So feet are straight out from the knees. Knees are straight above the hips. Let's bring our arms into a W position or goalpost. So ideally, we've got elbows up from shoulders. Hands directly on top. If that is not comfortable for you, bring the elbows maybe down or up wherever you feel comfortable, but still challenging that external shoulder rotation. We're going to take a big breath in here with the arms up. Neutral position in the spine. Sacrum is anchored. As we exhale, I want you to pull your arms away from the mat and try to rotate them down, keeping the wrist in line with the forearms. Inhale, the arms come back up. So we're breathing and moving the shoulder. Exhale, internal shoulder rotation. Push into the elbows, not forcing it, but just moving. Inhale up. Exhaling down. Slowing the breath. Last one. Bring those knees in. And let's take our time coming to a standing position. Roll to your side. Gentle, slowly. We've been on our backs for a bit. Never stand up quickly after lying down for too long. Let's come to our wall. Feet away from the wall, about hip distance apart. Sacrum is anchored against the wall. Shoulders are two. No arch in the low back. I'm not asking you to force your low back. I'm asking to make sure that we're not pulled away from it super far. Back of the head is anchored if you can. Back of the arms, back of the hand. And just close the eyes, take a nice breath. And just think about your body position now. We started from the crown of the head, back of the head, shoulders, arms, sacrum. Thinking of those knees bent, feet fully, firmly planted. Let's open our eyes. We're going to do one roll down. So we can inhale the arms up if you enjoy that portion. And as we exhale, we're going to peel head, shoulders, pushing mid back, lower back, peeling away from the wall, but keeping your backside against the wall. Big breath in at the bottom. And exhale, bend those knees. We rebuild from the bottom all the way tall. We're going to come away from the wall and do one last roll down. Feet hip distance apart. Inhale, reach up to the sky. As we exhale, we round the body slowly, gently, one individual vertebra at a time. Hang out at the bottom. Big breath in. And exhale, bend those knees. Rebuilds all the way tall. Roll the shoulders. Good. Very nice class, everybody. Hopefully you guys liked the wall.